and for the rest of the world. Between when I left Virginia, well, before I even left Virginia, matter of fact, Brandon Ratner was involved in the situation. He was involved all the way from Longmont, Colorado, Loveland, Colorado. Longmont, I think. I'm fairly certain he was still with Veronica. And, you know, he could have spoken up about that at any point in time. He could have, of course, the things that he claimed that he did on my behalf. Did he do those things with me? Does he have any proof that he did those things? No, none. Never produced any proof that he ever even tried to call the cops. Not a single goddamn shred of evidence. I'm just supposed to believe him. And people get insulted when I say, hey, I can't just believe you. I can't just say, all right, Brandon Ratner said. You have to fucking turn it in with me. Just like the stuff that Graham was involved in. He had to fucking turn it in with me. There needed to be fucking evidence of the fact that we made the fucking effort. And that's the thing about all of these mandated reporters. They won't do their fucking jobs. And they throw fucking tantrums when they're recorded. I don't give a shit if I have your permission to record or not. If you are breaking the fucking law, I'm going to fucking point my goddamn camera. I got a question. Do good deeds of the past make your sins now okay? Because you gave somebody a sandwich 20 years ago? Does that mean it's okay to treat them like shit today? Here's the thing about Brandon Ratner. He never once even tried to speak up. The days that he said that he would go to court with me, he didn't. Now, that's fine. It's fine that he wasn't able to make it. But he needed to fucking speak up. Why is it that Brandon Ratner, who helped me to get out of Virginia, who I had spoken to on at least 3, maybe 4 occasions before Natalie Marie Bollinger was killed. And of course, at least 2 of those conversations were primarily about Veronica Randall and how fucking mean she was. After Natalie died, to this day, Brandon Ratner has still never come forward about what he knows. I recorded him and posted him on my YouTube channel talking about those things. Why didn't he come forward about those things from the beginning? Because he had to work? Because he had to go on a date? You know, all the things that he supposedly did for me. First of all, it's not supposed. He actually did that shit. He actually did that stuff. That's not a joke. When I say that Brandon Ratner spent $140 in gas to drive from Longmont, Colorado, all the way up to Buffalo, Wyoming to fucking rescue me, I mean it. He actually fucking did that. When I say that Brandon Ratner and his dad helped me to sell a bunch of my stuff when my back was so completely fucked that I couldn't do a goddamn thing for myself, they took me to the flea market with them and they helped me to sell as much as they could of my stuff. Even if a lot of it was for a lot less than what I was asking for it, at least it got sold. And yes, Brandon Ratner and his dad actually did that. After Natalie was killed. Well, all right, Let's look at the situation where I fucked up my back. You know, Brandon Ratner helped me with that too. He helped me to move out of my shop when that situation with Josh Hughes happened. Brandon Ratner was there when I told Josh Hughes not to bring the couch out. Brandon Ratner was there when I laid down the rules for Josh, because Brandon Ratner helped Josh to move out to my shop. Josh wasn't even supposed to be staying out there. He did so anyway, and that's what got us kicked out of the shop. Also, the massive size of his fucking couch took up the whole goddamn shop. It wasn't a big shop. I'm not rich, and this is Boulder fucking County. Rent is not cheap. So Brandon Ratner was there when I explained to Josh that he couldn't stay the night. He certainly couldn't be up playing fucking video games, ghetto blasting until 4 o'clock in the fucking morning. He was missing work because he was up all night playing video games. And he wasn't supposed to be there. Now, he could have gotten away with being there if he wasn't busy playing video games and fucking ghetto blasting it. I mean, hell, he could have put in some headphones or turned off the fucking shop light, played just the video game with the screen on. But here's the thing, when I fucked up my back, that wasn't Brandon's fault. When I got kicked out of the shop, that wasn't Brandon's fault. And yeah, Brandon got $200 for helping me move my shit out of the shop, but also he got paid $140 for spending $140 to come and get me. Did he get compensated for any of the hours when he drove up to Buffalo? No, he didn't. He only got enough to cover the gas, and I had to sell my vehicle to make the money for gas to do that. It's because it broke down on the Little Bighorn River. Brandon Ratner did a lot of good things for me. But the thing that I needed the most was for him to speak up. If he really made these calls, he needed to speak up publicly. He needed to not turn a blind eye. That night that he helped me to get the computer, you know, he could speak up about that to this day. He could speak up about all of my efforts to get this into court, to get his help. He could speak up about all of the stuff that he's had to go through. But the thing is, he never spoke up. He never spoke up. He never once tried to get any of that information into the courts. Never once. Just like Shannon Alvarado didn't make any effort whatsoever into getting what she knew into court. So when I had to say those things, and I had to say them alone because Brandon Ratner was not doing a goddamn thing and Shannon Alvarado was too fucking drunk, I shouldn't have had to go to Shannon Alvarado. I shouldn't have had to accept Shannon Alvarado's help. No matter what you do, if you are not speaking up, you are hurting me. You are harming me. When you are telling me to let it go when I am still taking the abuse, you are a completely fucked person. With Brandon Ratner, why is it that he hasn't spoken up to this day? Why is it that he never once, to this day, ever tried speaking up? Despite saying he was going to, there's always an excuse. Just like the rest of these people, there is always an excuse. And that's the thing, is that I don't like predators. If you're going to assist my predators in getting away with their crimes, and you're going to throw shit in my face that I gave you every fucking penny that I had for. When he helped me to move that shit out of my shop, yes, he got $200 out of me. It was supposed to go to a truck. But you know what? I needed the help. When Brandon Ratner was telling me about going to a party and there was a lady there who was really mean to him, and he was invited to this party by his friend Hippie Chris. I know Hippie Chris. His real name isn't Hippie, but that's what he goes by. And Brandon went to this party, and because Veronica Randall had fucking slandered his name, this girl was there being fucking mean to Brandon, trying to start fight with Brandon and create a fucking situation with Brandon. Now, as much as I listened and tried to understand, the fact is that he didn't try to understand in my situation how important it was for him to speak up and speak up quickly. Oh, I can't, I have work. Well, you know what? That just ended up costing you a lot in the long run. You think that throwing money at the situation is going to fucking fix it? No, it's not. All of that money was a fucking temporary stopgap until you fucking speak up. But Brandon Ratner never tried. Now, I asked him if he could work together with some of these other people, and I was going to give him their numbers. And I went back through some of our messages and found those messages. And I had never gotten those numbers to him. But why didn't I get those numbers sent to him? Because I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off, trying to find somebody who would actually fucking help. Somebody who wasn't going to be busy making every fucking excuse. Because no matter what, I am well aware that if you love someone, you make the time. You make the time. If you could make the time to spend 2 hours with me on the phone telling me about all your personal problems and why you don't have the time, then you've got 2 hours of your time that you just wasted, and 2 hours of my time that you just wasted. A lot of these people who are witnesses to these situations were in other states. The thing is, it's on the fucking internet. You can turn it in from any fucking state in the fucking union. Instead of arguing this, why don't you look it up? Cops lied to you and they lied to me too. But you look at the stuff, if you would bother to look at the fucking evidence, which you haven't done. If you'd bother to look at the evidence, you would realize that my predators were allowed to do the things that you were told you're not allowed to do. My predators were allowed to do those things. The cops did the things that they said they weren't allowed to do for me and weren't allowed to do for you. They did those things for my fucking predators. All because you never spoke up. And that's the worst part. These people want to pretend that they're my friends. How can you be my friend when you would allow these things to happen and never try to turn it in? You never once made an effort to turn this shit in with me. Never. Now, as far as my court dates, when I got fucking railroaded in court, well, you really needed to fucking speak up then. Because they didn't just slander my name, they slandered Brandon Ratner's name, and they slandered Kayla Trujillo's name, and they slandered a lot of other fucking people's names. I've already produced the words and testimony of over a dozen people that I had gone to for help about the situation with Natalie Bollinger before she was fucking killed. I went to them for help stopping the abuse. With that situation at the Super 8 motel. Sorry, the La Quinta Inn. Brandon Ratner, he was going to help me, but he was in a hurry. He wanted to go on a date. So I gotta understand that going on a date is more important than my life. By that point, holy shit, it had already been fucking almost a month since Natalie was killed. And here I was still begging Brandon Ratner to fucking please come forward. Please help. Please speak up. Please. They're going to call me mentally ill and refuse to look at the evidence if you don't fucking speak up. But Brandon Ratner didn't care. He wanted to talk to me about his personal life. I'm fucking going through hell at that point. And it's not registering to him that if he doesn't fucking speak up, that I am going to be victimized for the rest of my fucking life. My predators didn't get away with their crimes because I didn't fucking try. It's because none of the fucking witnesses gave a shit enough to actually try with me. With me. Not for me. With me. If Brandon Ratner can't make time to tell the truth, then I don't have nice things to say about Brandon. It doesn't matter. What he did 20 fucking years ago. What matters is that I am going through hell that is worse than being fucking raped for 6 years straight. And Brandon Ratner hasn't lifted a goddamn finger in all that time to turn in what he knows. All those hours that we spent on the phone. It would have been a lot better served if we'd have called the people that needed to be called. But here's the thing, when somebody says they're going to help you and they're going to speak up, and then every time you call them, they got some excuse why they fucking can't. Over and over and over again, some excuse why they can't, and they're going to tell you all of their fucking personal problems. Over and over and over again. You know what? You're just wasting my time. How long did it take for me to speak up when Brandon Ratner's brother disappeared? It didn't even take me 20 minutes. 20 minutes to speak out. 20 minutes to make a fucking post on my Facebook and post it up. That's support. That's actual support. I know Sean Ratner, and you goddamn right I helped to find him. He, just like me, is an at-risk adult. With all these people from Dee Dee Klang and Rodney Klang and Rachel Klang to Brandon Ratner to literally dozens upon dozens of others telling me all of their personal problems, all of their family problems, and making me feel like shit for doing as they said. Going out of their way to try to make me feel like I'm a bad person for asking them to tell the truth. And then they're allowed to get angry at me. They're allowed to get vindictive. They're allowed to get mean. They're allowed to get destructive. Does Brandon Ratner have any idea of the abuse that I've gone through in just the last month? No, he doesn't fucking care. Just like all of my other friends. He didn't pay attention to what was going on because it didn't matter to him. And the longer it took for him to speak up, the more abuse I took. 6 years later, I'm still pissed at the motherfucker. Just because I love you doesn't mean I don't have a right to be fucking pissed off when you do fucked up shit like that. Brandon Ratner, by never coming forward, You helped my predators to get away by never making any attempt to get this shit into court that you knew, by making zero attempt to go in with me to make sure that my rights are observed, or to speak up and verify that I was telling the truth. I was railroaded over and over again, over and over and over again. And it doesn't bother Brandon at all how much money or time I wasted on his ass when he was never going to speak up to begin with. He shouldn't have said he was going to. He shouldn't have fucking procrastinated for as long as he did. And I'm expected to understand all of his problems, but he makes zero effort to understand mine. The fact that he literally never came forward, and the fact that I am still abused to this day over it. He's not the only person that I went to. Let's take a look at Veronica Bruce, aka Missy Bruce. She married a guy named Richard, and I don't know Richard's last name, so I don't know Missy's new last name either. I knew her when I first moved to Nebraska. She was one of the first people I met. We've also got Chelsea Worsing. All of these people who claim that they love me, claim that they want to help me, claim that they would if they could. You can fucking speak up. Chelsea Worsing could have spoken up at any point in time. She could have made the calls with me and helped me to turn them in. Brandon Ratner could have, in person, on multiple occasions, he could have gone in with me. Now, we've got it recorded that he made claims that he spoke to officers about the situation, but which officers? Who was it? And why didn't you help me to turn that in? After I was railroaded by the courts in Arapahoe County, I could have gotten a new court date. In every single one of these situations, I could have gotten a new court date by one person caring enough to, instead of fucking bullshit me, one person actually make a goddamn effort to call these places with me and turn this shit in. This shit is not fucking acceptable. I've said a lot of really not nice fucking things about Brandon Ratner. It doesn't matter how much I love him. He has literally made zero effort to come forward in all of this time. He wants to throw temporary band-aids in my face. Temporary band-aids that I would have never fucking needed if he would have come forward about what he knew from the start. If he would have made calls with me and helped me to turn them in, and to this day, doesn't have time. And that's the thing about all of these fucking pieces of shit. Not a goddamn one of them is looking at any of the shit that I'm going through. Not a goddamn one of them ever gave a fuck. Their personal problems are all more important than mine. I fucking get it. Except for the fact that Brandon Ratner wasted an awful lot of fucking money that he shouldn't have fucking wasted. What he should have done is fucking tell the goddamn truth. Help me to make these fucking calls. Why couldn't Brandon Ratner, who is a witness to the fucking situation, starting in fucking Virginia, well, before that even, because he was part of that situation where I fucked up my back. And no, that's not Brandon Ratner's fault that I fucked up my back. And I'm not blaming him for my fucked up back. With a lot of these people, it was a matter of circumstance. It was fucked up circumstances. But these people, when I say, hey, is this true or not? Well, of course, when it's just a one on one conversation and they don't know they're being recorded, yeah, they'll admit to it. Yeah, Sean, you did come to me for help. Of course I fucking did. I was being fucking abused. Thank you for fucking admitting it, finally. Now help me to get that shit into fucking court. Make the phone calls with me. Stop telling me to call a bunch of people and having to do it by myself. Because I'm going to get fucking blown off. I didn't need Brandon Ratner to fucking buy a bunch of shit for me that fucking didn't work. Now, it's not his fault that the situation with Brett Roloff was completely fucked. Brandon Ratner is the one who paid for that fucking ticket. He's the one that paid for that bus ticket for me to go to Bristol, Virginia, or Bristol, Tennessee, actually. The bus station is in Bristol, Tennessee, and the house that Brett Roloff was staying in was in Bristol, Virginia. It's a border town. Half of it's in Virginia, half of it's in Tennessee. Now, with Brandon Ratner being involved in the situation with getting me home, he wasn't the only one. There was a lot of people who used to be friends of mine, but they never came forward. Never came forward. They kept telling me what to do, what to do, what to do, what to download, what to this, what to that. The thing is, I'd already spoken with lawyers about what I needed to do before Natalie was fucking killed. I had to jump through a bunch of fucking hoops. Now, from what they were telling me, they weren't telling me that I needed to jump through all these fucking hoops. They weren't telling me that I had to go get all this developmental disability stuff done. They weren't telling me that I had to get disability. They were telling me that because they're calling me mentally ill, there's a lot of tricks that the cops have at their fucking disposal. I was already aware of those tricks. I was already aware that they pull those things. And when I was trying to explain to all of you from the very fucking start the help that I needed, I knew what help I fucking needed. And it was reinforced by the goddamn lawyers. And every one of these people who wanted to play pocket lawyer, well, they fucked up big because they're not lawyers. They wanted to tell me as their excuse, as witnesses to the fucking situation, they wanted to say, oh, I'm not a lawyer. You don't have to be a fucking lawyer. You don't have to be a lawyer. You are a fucking witness, dipshit. People don't like to be verbally accosted. They don't like to be fucking cursed at. They don't like being fucking yelled at. Well, you know what? Neither do I. But you're fine with it happening to me. You don't like it if it happens to you, do you? Meanwhile, I'm not threatening to kill your dumbasses. I'm threatening to take your fucking dumbasses to court. And if I had help with it, it wouldn't just be a fucking threat. Brandon Ratner can verify where a shit ton of fucking money went. A bunch of my money went to fucking getting help. Now, there's also situations where, like the situation in Rawlins, Wyoming, I fucking had to call forever and a fucking day. Hey, Brandon, dude, I got nobody that can fucking take me to Rawlins, Wyoming. I am fucking broke. Dallas isn't gonna fucking get off his ass for anybody. Brandon Ratner actually got to meet Dallas. Also, Dallas Richmond has a sister named Brittany, and, well, Brandon was going to help Brittany out too. Brittany was able to find another ride. Well, that's the thing, is that I remember these things. I don't pretend that these things didn't happen. I don't pretend that none of the good things Brandon did ever happened. But the point is, most of that shit never should have happened to begin with. Most of that shit, if I'd have had somebody who actually took the situation seriously instead of making it short story sharing time. Hey, I'll help you with your fucking shit. I will fucking help you. But I need fucking help. I'm not coming to you and telling you my fucking story or explaining to you how important your fucking words are for your fucking entertainment. I got the mandated reporter video training, and it explains all of this shit. And I get that Brandon Ratner is not a mandated reporter, but fuck, this is a guy who pretended to be my friend. Claimed he was my friend. And you know what? He did plenty of friendly things. He did a lot of things that got me out of some real fucking pickles. But when Natalie died, all I needed him to do was tell the fucking truth. And the longer it took him to tell the truth, the more of my fucking resources were taken from me, preventing me from taking care of myself, or defending myself, or protecting myself. And meanwhile, while I'm jumping through all these goddamn hoops trying to get one person, just one of my so-called friends, to fucking speak up, I'm having to go through alcoholics that found out about me through web sleuth fucking groups and true crime groups. I lost all of my friends over a goddamn lie. And I'm going through 100 times worse fucking bullshit than Brandon could ever fucking imagine. And here I am listening to him telling me about all of his problems. And I'm trying not to be rude, but Jesus fucking Christ, I need help. If you wait until your life is fucking perfect to speak up, you've already sealed the fate of enough people that you really shouldn't have any voting rights. You shouldn't have the right to guns. Really, you shouldn't have the right to be out in public. As a homeless male, without someone else going in with me, I get abused. You'd think that if these people were my friends, it wouldn't have taken them 5 minutes to fucking help me turn it in. None of these professional agencies are going to do their jobs without somebody like Brandon Ratner fucking speaking up. I asked him how much money he spent for that trip to Rawlins, Wyoming. He spent a pretty fair amount. And no, I wasn't able to reimburse him for that. Now then, we got to take a look at all of the crimes that have been committed since. The rapidity of them, the frequency of them, the fact that I still cannot defend myself, and the fact that while Brandon Ratner had the opportunity in person to do something about this, he didn't. He allowed it to continue over and over and over again. And when he told me about his personal problems and he needed help with it, he got that fucking help. It didn't take fucking years for me to fucking speak up. When people say, I don't know what to do. Well, how about you try what I'm asking? Oh, dude, you need a lawyer. I know I need a lawyer. I'm telling you what it is that I have to do to get anything done whatsoever. Witnesses have to fucking come forward. If you come forward by yourself, you have to fucking record it. Since this information that Brandon Ratner claimed that he talked to cops about is not in my court paperwork, why isn't it in my court paperwork? Oh yeah, that's because Brandon Ratner never made any attempt to save any of that goddamn information. And he never bothered to fucking help me turn that shit in. And the longer he fucking did that shit, the more you get to hear him talking about the next fucking tail he's gonna chase. Like, fuck, dude. If you actually care about me, can you stop chasing tail long enough to make a fucking phone call? I mean, Christ, if you can fucking talk with me on the phone for fucking 2 hours straight, and yeah, there's a recording here on my YouTube channel with Brandon Ratner that is 2 hours and 36 minutes, something like that long. All right, he had plenty of time to talk. And in that recording, the majority of it is what? Brandon Ratner talking about chasing tail. Now, he's not saying it like that. He's going to help out some lady. And you know what? I'm fine with that. I get that. I understand that. At the same time, I needed him to fucking speak up. He asked me once and said, well, who do I turn it into? I said, I don't know. That's the thing, is that you get blown off by the services that are supposed to do these things. They will lie to you and tell you it's not their job and run you around in circles and then tell you that it's not their fault. Well, here's the thing. It is Brandon Ratner's fault. It is the fault of all of these people who pretended to be my friends, because none of them ever cared enough about me. Now, you can't pretend you're friends with somebody if you're going to look away from the fucking abuse that they're taking. If they're coming to you for help because they are being fucking abused, especially as rampantly as I was and still am, if you can ignore that and make zero effort in 6 goddamn years to turn it in, how can you call someone your friend? No matter what he did in the past that may or may not have been nice, kind, or good, the fact is, when it mattered most, he was a fucking cricket. I literally had to break the law because people like Brandon Ratner never made any attempt to help me stop this. None. Nada. All of the things that he has recorded saying right here on my fucking YouTube channel, he should have fucking spoken up about, and it should have been in fucking court. When cops said that I wasn't trying to get help, bullshit. I was trying to get help for over a year before Natalie was fucking killed. Brandon Ratner was involved in the situation from the very beginning. Laura Nelson was a part of the situation from the very beginning. Brenda Dickinson was a part of the situation from the very beginning. Jerry Sparks was a part of the situation from the very beginning. Lana Engeline, Amanda Engeline, and Tyler Frericks were part of this situation from the very beginning. My dad, Brian David Schwartz, was a part of this situation from the very beginning. Because all of this hell started in Virginia. All of this abuse over Natalie Bollinger being a fucking heroin addict started in Virginia when I did what she wanted. When I did what her sister wanted. When I did what Maddie Boa wanted. And then they get to pretend that I stalked them because I did what they wanted. I jumped through every hoop that I was supposed to, and no officer felt as if they had to do their job. As far as the protection order goes, I didn't even know I had a fucking court date. I didn't even know that Natalie was in fucking Colorado until, well, of course, she disappeared. And of course, who did I go to? I went to Brett Roloff, and I went to Sarah Rubiolo. Neither one of those two are my friends anymore because neither one of them bothered to try helping me turn it in. I had to record them and post them on my YouTube and Facebook as well. It shows that they knew what was going on. They just never said anything. They didn't care enough to say anything while pretending to be my friends. People didn't bother to find out if it was true or not before Natalie died. They just went straight to the abuse. And you can see that to this day. Natalie Bollinger never once accused me of being a fucking child molester or a rapist. Ever. I have yet to see a single thing for Milicia Bollinger making that claim either. I needed help turning in the evidence before Natalie was fucking killed. When Natalie disappeared, you know what? There was a real sense of urgency. But to Brandon, it was no big thing. He just kept brushing it off and brushing it off and blowing me off like I didn't fucking matter. No matter what else he did for me, he never spoke up. He never, ever made any effort to fight for my goddamn rights. When his brother disappeared, I got on Facebook and YouTube immediately. Immediately. I didn't procrastinate for 6 goddamn years. I didn't look the other way to Sean David Schwartz being abused like a motherfucker. When it comes to Brandon Ratner, it doesn't matter how much I love him. What matters is that I can't see him because he never spoke up. I had to flee state because he never spoke up. And it's not just him. It's also Brenda Dickinson, who promised she'd go to court with me and never did. And she ain't the only one. I am completely disgusted by all of you. Brandon Ratner owes me a chunk of lead to the head. All of you owe that to me. I think I got some stuff on my tablet I can erase. That way I'll have at least a little more room for recording. Please make it stop. I knew my family didn't care. I knew it from the very start. They never cared. When they were making a profit, yeah, it made sense for them to keep me around. Or to wish that I was still around. Please help me get assisted termination of life legal. If you're not going to help me turn in my predators and clear my name, what kind of a friend were you ever? If you're going to throw things that you did for me 20 years ago in my face as if that justifies you looking the other way while people are literally murdered, what the fuck is wrong with you? Brandon Ratner told me his brother was missing, and I went looking for the young man immediately. Please help me get assisted termination of life legal, please. Please help me to get assisted termination of life legal. Please. Nobody will fucking look. I can't get help showing it because all of my money has been taken away. I can't take care of myself, and my predators are all preying on this. I've gone to all the people that I've been told to go to, but all of these people I had to go to alone. Every goddamn one of them. Until it didn't make a difference because Brandon Ratner's a goddamn coward. He has had 6 years to show that he's not a fucking coward. He has had 6 goddamn years to fucking speak up about the fact that I'm telling the truth, and he fucking knows it! And he let these people hurt me over and over again! Brandon Ratner, you probably ain't gonna watch this, and if you do, you probably only watch 5 minutes of it. But I swear, I will fucking pursue you to the end of the fucking earth if you don't fucking call and fucking help me turn this shit in, you piece of shit. I will do every goddamn thing I can to make sure the whole world knows what a goddamn piece of shit fucking coward you are. How do you let a friend go through 6 years of hell because you wanted to chase some fucking pussy?
You piece of shit!